Hi. Happy New Year. Thanks for clicking my second video. In this channel I'm going to cover interesting thematic Warframe synergy. From builds, weapons, arcanes, and even a topic that some people consider it taboo, a ribbon. So if you want to see this kind of content and some more exciting gameplay footage, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. It's free, and help the channel grow in the long run. But before I start, I have to clarify something. By all means, I'm not an expert like many other wonderful Warframe content creator. I'm just a full-time salaryman, enjoying Warframe with friends after a tiring day. So please, if you find the build that I cover, already mentioned by many other experts, treat it as a new point of view of the build. Now the ground rule established, let's dive in. Warframe is a multiplayer game. I enjoy it with friends, family, even enemies sometimes. But Warframe can also treat it as a single-player game, which sometimes can help us to dive deeper into the game mechanics. Or maybe, simply find a new way to enjoy Warframe as a game. The loadout I want to present you this time is a fruitation of that perks. This is the loadout that I most of the time use when I want to play alone, enjoying big numbers in my screen, dealing huge red crits, parkour, and maneuver here and there, all the good exciting stuffs. This loadout is the one I called as the Lone Greystalker. The approach when I assemble this loadout is to make it not entirely easy setup to use, but more towards on exciting fast-paced action this loadout can do. This is the Lone Greystalker, the loadout code for the ninja among ninjas, Ash. First thing first, let's start by looking his skill briefly. Ash's first skill is Shuriken. And by adding augment mod, seekingshuriken, Ash will strip 100% target's armor by using this skill. Simple and effective to set up a kill for high priority target. His second skill is smoke bomb. Ash goes stealth and invisible. This skill is his main survivability tools. Something to note about this skill is, there's a small gap when Ash casts this skill. Thus using rolling guard mod is mandatory to make sure the skill goes off safely. Ash's third skill is fatalteleport. Ash teleport behind the selected target. Its main function is solely for mobility. But with fatalteleport augment mod, Ash will perform a stealth finisher after teleport. This is almost guaranteed kill skill, since finisher damage is true damage, bypassing armor value. Ash's last skill is Blade Storm. By pressing this skill once, Ash will enter a marking mode. After marked multiple target, press once more to unleash Ash Shadow Clone to deal 3 times finisher damage to the marked target. This skill is one of the strongest ultimate in the game in term of damage output. But two-phased skill like this sometimes not quite applicable in the heat of battle. Thus I subsumed Marked for Death to replace the skill for more practical application. Marked for Death, the subsumed ability, is the AoE spreader skill. By using this skill to enemy, it will stun and mark them with reddish aura. And next damage deal to the marked target will be spreaded to enemies around the target. By combining Marked for Death and augmented fatal teleport, Ash will spread his finisher damage. This skill is so strong to the point that the devs is capping its damage to the max HP of marked target. Meaning, if marked target's HP 500,000, and Ash fatal teleport damage is 4 million, the AoE spread from Marked for Death is capped at 500,000, this spread damage is maxed out at 150% max HP when the Warframe has 200% power strength. Now, let's go to the modding section. The build configuration of this loadout is, using the combination of Combat Disciple Aura and Arcane Avenger, to give flat 45% critical chance. Transient Fortitude, Intensify, and Power Drift to make 200% power strength. This will fulfill the requirement of power strength, to make 150% max HP spread damage from Marked for Death. Prime Continuity to negate the minus duration from Transient Fortitude. Flow to increase max energy. Equilibrium for mana regeneration because this mod will synergy with our companion Panzer Vulpa. Viral quills from Panzer Vulpa's Panzer Devolution mod will makes enemies drop red orbs when they die most of the time. Rolling guard is needed here to safeguard the casting of smoke bomb. And to augment mod, seeking shuriken to strip armor for a tough high priority target like Demolist or Acolyte. And fatal teleport to combo with marked for death to AoE nuke crowds. In arcane section, I use arcane avenger which I mentioned before. And arcane acceleration to patch fire rate requirement for the primary weapon, which I will explain later. Now the mods and skills explained, let's see what weapons I put in this loadout. In primary, I need weapon that's strong enough to kill the toughest enemy. Something bold, robust. Something that can kill highest priority target. I pick nataruk in this slot. Because nataruk is considered as one of the strongest weapon in the game right now. This bow is reward for finishing the new war quest. I won't go further about detail of this weapon background since it contains spoiler. Nataruk is a bow with 3 charging method. Quick shot is when I release the charge immediately. Full charge is when I charge it fully before releasing it. The one and the deadliest mode of nataruk is perfect shot. To shoot this perfect shot we need to release the charge at 1/3 bar at the end before fully charge. Perfect shot will have additional crit and status chance to make it red crit damage easily. Let's go to the modding section. I put vital sense and critical delay to boost nataruk already absurd critical stat. Prime Zero and infected clip to make viral damage which will amplify /proc from hunter munition. Galvanized chamber is needed to increase nataruk multi-shot capability. Galvanized aptitude is the gundition overload for primary weapon. It will deal more damage to target with status proc. Meaning, if your first shot not killing the target, the second shot definitely will. Vigilante supplies is not needed since nataruk has unlimited ammo. I just put it there for random increase critical level. Last slot is Riven, but to be honest nataruk doesn't need one. I can put fire rate mode like Vile acceleration, or if you want to min-maxing a bit. Use Vigilante armament to increase multi-shot, and patch the fire rate requirement by using arcane acceleration. But if you insist on using a Riven, look stats like crit, multi-shot, crit damage, or fire rate and harmless negatives. In secondary weapon, I put something to clear room fast. In this loadout I use Nuker. Nuker is one of the meta secondary a couple months ago. The chaining beam and the microwave effect makes this secondary so easy to use. Just aim one target and 3 more targets will be chained by the beam as well. Let's go to the modding. Nuker is a beam status weapon with a weird base stat. It has nearly non-existent 7% crit chance, but has a gigantic 5 times critical damage multiplier. Hornet Strike to increase the base damage. Deep Freeze, Pathogen Rounds, and Prime Heated Charge to make it viral heat status combination. Not to mention since Nuker has radiation-based damage, Magnetic Progenitor will make this build has 4 status, Radiation, Magnetic, Viral and Heat. Galvanized Diffusion and Lethal Torrent to increase multi-shot. Galvanized Shot to increase damage to target affected by status which Nuker based on. Last slot is Riven, or if you don't want to use Riven in this one disposition weapon, you can use Magnum Force to add more raw damage, even though there will be diminishing effect on additive stat damage which already increased before, by Hornet Strike and secondary Merciless. But if you want to invest a Riven for this badass weapon, look for multi-shot, elemental damage, and harmless negatives. Last one, melee weapon. This one is kind of unique. I picked this melee weapon exclusively to accommodate marked for death fatal teleport playstyle. I use rapier to force proc slash on finisher. So Dest Reza Prime it is. Dest Reza Prime is one of the most underrated melee weapon nowadays, which makes it better, since the disposition is close to perfect. Let's go to the modding. Both sacrificial mod to reach the highest critical chance possible. Organ Shatter and Gladiator Might to increase 150% critical damage. Finishing touch to add more finisher damage. And spoiled strike and prime fever strike to increase raw damage as high as possible. I can change spoiled strike to Northwind to make it viral damage, but since finisher damage is true damage, elemental status damage is not applicable. Last slot is Riven, but like always if you don't want to use Riven, you can use more elemental damage mod. Now all the Warframe and weapon section explained. Let me explain how to play this loadout. There's a basic premise in this loadout, something I always challenge myself. The first rule is, do not die. Because if you die using this loadout, you either not paying attention enough or just spacing out. The second rule is, do not die. Because if you die using this loadout, it means that your reaction is not precise enough. You should and must think how to react properly in many situations. The third and final rule is, do not die. You fail your personal challenge when you die, restart the mission and try again. Let's see what on the table. When you see crowds, pay attention to the environment. Is it tunnel-based environment? If yes, then you can proceed with either nataruk or thenewwar. Shooting nataruk in narrow hallway or tunnel is satisfaction itself. If it wide space environment, you have two options, beam them down with thenewwar, or burst them down with markedfordeath fatal teleport. If somehow there's enemies who survive the nuke from initial damage of markedfordeath, they will definitely die later because of huge slash proc, caused by Dest Raise a prime finisher after effect. Pay attention to your smoke bomb duration. The moment your character appear from stealth, immediately rolling guard to recast smoke bomb. This is the only survivability tools you have in this loadout. Time it well, like your life depends on it. Last one, if you met enemy that harder to kill, throw your shuriken to strip their armor before releasing perfect or charged shot from nataruk. It will do the trick. Thus conclude our second configuration loadout, the Lone Greystalker. To be honest, this loadout is the polar opposite of my first video loadout. This loadout is what I use when I want to try hard doing solo survival steel path. For some people, this loadout will lack of flexibility. For example, this build is using melee weapon that modded only for special occasion, markedfordeath fatal teleport. But for me this is what make the loadout fun and exciting. And I hope when you sometime in the future try this loadout, you will also experience the fun and excitement I feel. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more Warframe videos. Class, dismissed.
Life support has been cut off. They're trying to choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support. Prepare for life support. support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time. Support incoming. Delivered another life support capsule.
Come to scavenge and desecrate this sacred realm. My brothers, did I not tell of this day? Did I not prophesize this moment? Forever bound to the void.
Is making progress. This will help our cause. Extraction is available if you need it.
This death is temporary. My existence is forever. I cannot be destroyed.